The fourth part of this topic are strategies in human resource management, and they're just kind of thrown together. There's no particular order that these go in. We look at leadership style. That's the first thing we're going to look at. We also look at job design. So do you make tasks very, very, specific, and people, just give a higher level of challenge to them, or do you have general tasks so they don't get bored? Those sorts of decisions. We also look at recruitment. So do you recruit internally, externally, the advantages and disadvantages, and also the skills required for the job. Do you recruit someone because they have just specific skills to do that particular job, or do you recruit people with more general skills that could be more useful down the line? We also look at training and development. Again, we're looking at skills, whether you're training people for their current job or for future promotions or future jobs, future skills that they might need, and the advantages and disadvantages of each. We're also going to look at performance management systems, so whether it's the administrative, tick the box kind of performance management, or you really focus on it, have a developmental performance management system. We also look at rewards. We look at monetary or non-monetary rewards again, rather than doing the specific types of monetary rewards like, piece rates and things like that. We're going to look at, do you choose, monetary and non-monetary rewards, and obviously, what mix you're going to have. We look at individual or group rewards, and we look at performance pay in more general terms. And then right at the end, we always look at some global stuff. So we're going to look at global labor costs and skills, and also global supply, and look at the advantages and disadvantages again. So really, we're looking very, very clearly at the advantages and disadvantages of all these different options, because you can see in a lot of cases you've got to choose between one or the other. So if you're going to choose between one or the other, you're going to have to look at the advantages and disadvantages, especially in that section 3, in that business report, where you need to make sure that you understand what choice the business is facing. You understand exactly what the business manager has to decide between, and you know the advantages and disadvantages of each, and all you have to do is, after you've written the advantages and disadvantages, just apply to the business, make a choice, make a recommendation. As a, consultant, I suggest that you do this. This is our recommendation based on the number of advantages versus the number and quality of the disadvantages. So the first thing we're going to look at is leadership style, for the managers especially. So we're going to look at 3 different leadership styles, despite the fact that there are lots and lots and lots and lots. It really comes down to 3 basic ones. We're going to look at autocratic, so that's like where the manager just has total control over decision making. You do as I say when I say it. Democratic decision making, where the workers get consulted, but the manager still has a final say. So you ask the workers what they want, but then you have your decision anyway. And the laissez-faire way of doing things, where the workers have a lot of control over the ideas and the decisions. It's not like do what you want. It's, look, here are the goals that we have, and it's up to you to meet those goals in whatever way you want. We're not going to tell you how to do it. You are, highly skilled workers. It's good for you to just do it the way that you want, because you're going to be best at doing it. Now, we need to look at the advantages and disadvantages of all of these, because, like I said, for that section 3 question, you're going to be asked for strategies and which one is the right one for the business. So for autocratic, there are some good advantages. Management is really, really straightforward. You don't need any special training or anything like that. So the managers don't need special training. The workers don't need special training. They just get told, right, you make them do it. You be really autocratic. You tell them exactly how to do it and the time that they have to do it, and you get them to do it the way that you want them to. So it's very straightforward in terms of what the managers need to do and what the workers need to do. And it's also good in a crisis, because managers can change their leadership style according to the circumstances of the business. So you could be laissez-faire most of the time, but then get autocratic when there's a crisis. Just say, right, I'm in charge now. I know what to do. I know what's best. You are going to do it this way, just for, the next, 24 hours or whatever. The disadvantages are pretty obvious though. The workers are going to be adults, and they're going to resent taking orders. They're not going to like it. So they're going to, they might even, sabotage the business in serious cases. But they're really not going to work the extra hours or anything like that. They're not going to think of ways to improve while they're at home or anything like that. And they're not going to like getting, ordered around. It's also risky if the manager's not very good. If the manager doesn't pull off this autocratic style very well, or the manager, wants to be the worker's friend, but also order them to do exactly what they want them to do every hour of the day, it's not going to work out, and it's going to cause some problems between managers and the workers. A democratic way of doing things is becoming much more common. It's better for experienced workers. So if you get like that Section 3 question that says, all right, the workers are all very experienced, I wouldn't recommend an autocratic method, because experienced workers and highly skilled workers are not going to like it, and they're going to be able to find a job somewhere else because they do have those skills and they do have that experience. And the workers are also going to feel more trusted. They're going to feel like, all right, I do kind of have a say in this. I know the manager's going to make the final decision, but I can at least, influence that decision. I can at least say what I think about that decision, and it's purely open, for discussion. The disadvantages, though, for unmotivated workers, for unskilled workers, it's not very good. You don't really need to ask, the people at, like, I always use McDonald's just because, it's known for that. You don't really need to ask the 15-year-old working at McDonald's what they think would be a good management decision. So it's not really good for those workers. It also takes a lot more time to ask people what they think and all that. And it can also lead to blame shifting. So the manager says, what do you guys think we should do? And the workers say, we think we should do this. The manager goes, well, right, I'm going to do whatever you said, and I'm not going to take the blame for it. And then they shift the blame to the workers, and the workers go, well, you're the boss. You were supposed to just make the decision in the end. So if, even if we made a bad suggestion, you should have known better. So it just goes back and forth. And that particularly becomes an issue with this laissez-faire, this third style, this ultra-democratic style, where the workers have a lot of control over the ideas and decisions. The advantages for highly skilled workers, they're going to become highly motivated workers as well, because they have so much more control about the way that they're able to do things. If you're very talented, if you're very creative, you can come up with some very, very original solutions. Right? And those are things that that's going to become a competitive advantage. Those workers are going to be an advantage to the business because your business has them and nobody else does. Right? So if you have a particularly talented engineer or designer, like Apple, they've got Journey Ive, they are able to use that person to their advantage. And he gets free reign. He basically does whatever he wants. It's not like someone's checking on him every 5 minutes, because he's very creative. He's very talented. He comes up with the goods in the end. So they're not worried about how he comes up with the goods, right? So that's good for highly skilled, highly motivated workers. The disadvantages, though. Anyone who's not very talented, or anyone who's not very independent, they might take advantage of this style. If they know that they can get away with whatever for the next 3 months, they're gonna do that. So if you think of when you've had the difference between having an assignment that's due in 2 weeks and having work that the teacher suggests that you do, they expect you to do that suggested stuff, but you don't care, do you? Because there's no penalty for not doing it, yeah? Or like doing a non-ATAR course. You're not going to sit there studying for it because there's no penalty for it. It's kind of laissez-faire. You have control over whether you do it or not. So unless you are particularly, internally motivated, then it's really not going to work for you. So those are the different decisions that you can make, and those are the advantages and disadvantages of each. But all you would need to do in that Section 3 question is pick one, right? You just need to pick one based on those advantages and disadvantages. But do each one, if they're asking about leadership styles, do each one, give the advantages and disadvantages of all of them, look at the business particularly, their little case study business in the exam, and then make a decision based on what's right for that business.